And I struggled about whether or not to talk about this, but I do think it's important and relevant to the world of online movie fandom. And so I've decided to do it, despite the fact that we have a pretty strict rule on the show not to talk politics. So I'm going to try to approach this in a way that is as non-political as possible. So I'm just going to need everybody to put on their big boy pants and just, let's just deal with the information here at hand. So let's get into it. Yesterday, a rather monumental thing happened. A major news organization had to settle and admit that they deliberately lied and misled their public. And the cost of that was over $787.5 million. $787.5 million is what Fox News had to settle minutes before the trial was about to begin, had to settle with a company called Dominion. Now, just a little bit of background on this, okay? And we're only going to deal in facts here. A little bit of background in this. Of course, Joe Biden won the last presidential election, much like Donald Trump won the one before that. Barack Obama won the one before that, whatever. So Joe Biden won the last election. And there became a theory that, or some stories going around that the election was rigged. Now, there were, I believe there were 68 court cases brought to show that this election was rigged, and all of them lost. All 68 of them lost, including in front of many Republican appointed judges and things like that. Now, despite that, there continued to be some chatter. That's the way I'll put it. Some chatter that one of the companies that made the voting machines, the company's called Dominion, that they rigged the election, that they were in on it, that they purposely rigged their machines and all that kind of stuff, despite the fact that there was absolutely zero evidence or proof of that, as brought out in all the different court cases and whatnot. Now, Fox News, and I'm just giving you a little bit of background here, Fox News basically perpetuated this lie that the election was rigged and that the Dominion voting machines were in on it, and they were rigged and all this kind of stuff. And they push it. Now, what really killed Fox was when text messages, emails, and phone calls amongst the hosts of Fox, the executive producers of Fox News, when those got released and they found out that they themselves did not believe it. That the Fox News anchors who were saying and perpetuating this idea that the Dominion machines were rigged, their personal correspondence showed that they didn't believe that at all. They knew that there was no proof or evidence of that. They knew that the machines were not rigged, and yet they got on air and kept perpetuating the myth that they were. Because of this, Dominion took them to court and were suing them for $1.6 billion. It's important to note that the company Dominion is worth $30 million.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, they're not. But they were worth roughly $30 million, I believe, was their market cap. And they sued Fox News for $1.6 billion for defamation. And it became clear that Fox was going to lose, and lose badly. So at the last minute, as the jury was brought into the courtroom, as everything was about to start, Fox settled with Dominion for $787 million, I think is, $787.5 million, and put out a statement that basically said this, that, we acknowledge that the court found that we spoke untruths, and we hope that this settlement shows that we are committed to journalistic integrity. So basically they took accountability. We did something, we spread a lie that we knew was not true, and we spread it anyway, and we agree to be accountable, and we want to show the world that we want to be accountable, and we have journalistic integrity, so we accept accountability and responsibility for that. Okay. So with that as the background to this, and that was a big story that was going yesterday. With that as the background, it raises an interesting question, because we talk on the show about movies, movie news, TV, and streaming. And one of the big things that's watched and streamed on television is news, or news. And that is a big thing. And to have a news organization say, yeah, we knew something wasn't true. We knew it, but we just pushed it out anyway because it got people to watch, right? We have viewers who wanted to believe it was true. So even though we knew it wasn't true, we kept perpetuating it because we wanted to get our viewers to keep watching our stuff. They took accountability for it, paid $750 million. Now I move on. But here's the question I have when it comes to the stuff that we talk about here, movies, movie news, TV, and streaming. The question I have, and I wonder about, is what will the impact of this result in court have on the world of movie journalism and the online movie world? And beyond what will the impact be, I question what should the impact be. Let me preface this by saying this. The expression of opinion must never be treaded upon. The reason Fox got in trouble was not because they were expressing an opinion. It was because they were perpetuating something as fact that they knew was not true. So they knowingly went on there and said things they knew were factually untrue. That's what got them in trouble. The expression of an opinion should never be called into question. The expression of opinion, no matter how popular opinion or unpopular your opinion is, should ever be treaded upon. With some minor restrictions, of course. In everything in life, there's exceptions. But let's look, for example, in the world of movies and movie news. Because the First Amendment your First Amendment rights do not protect you or allow you to just defame somebody and go into and do defamation, right? That's explicitly laid out in of itself. It's written right in. You don't, just because you have the right to express your thoughts and opinions, that doesn't give you the right to lie about somebody in a way that will harm that person. Okay? There's a difference between your opinion, what your perception of, you're even allowed to be wrong. Like, for instance, if all the exchanges between Fox had showed that all the broadcasters and all the hosts and all the executives, if their correspondence showed that they actually believed what it was they were broadcasting, I bet you they wouldn't have gotten into any trouble. I'm almost willing to bet they would. I mean, maybe they still would have gotten fined something, but I bet you would have gotten trouble. The problem was they knew something wasn't true and they perpetuated it anyway. In the world of movies, we've had stuff like this happen, and it's always been with complete impunity, right? Let's go back a couple. Like, you guys can all think of probably 24 examples of this, but let's just look at a couple of them. Let's go back a number of years, back when the Marvel film Captain Marvel was coming out. And of course, there were a lot of people who said this movie's going to bomb, this movie's going to tank, and blah, blah, blah. And the movie made $1.1 billion. So, to cover themselves, this big excuse started going around. Two excuses. One, they're lying about the box office numbers.
Right.
Well, of course, that's not possible because Disney doesn't do the box office numbers. A third-party company deals with the box office numbers, and we talked about that. We did a little editorial on that recently. So they're not the ones who does the numbers. And they said, well, Disney bought all their own tickets. Well, how does that help? Not to mention the attendance numbers at theaters are also reported to a third independent party, so that can't happen. But the big thing was, and this is what a lot of the websites ran with, somebody took a picture. Do you guys remember this?
Yeah.
Somebody took a picture of an empty movie theater and said, I just came in to watch Captain Marvel on opening weekend, and my theater is completely empty. Well, Dan Murrell did a great piece on this one particular incident where this is who that picture came from. This person had been bad-mouthing Captain Marvel, blah, blah, blah. Do you really expect us to believe that person was there opening weekend to watch Captain Marvel and their movie theater? So it was completely false. It got completely debunked, right? But some websites and people kept pushing that lie. They kept pushing that myth of, all the movie theaters where Captain Marvel were playing were empty. This $1.1 billion is a lie, all that kind of stuff, right? Or other reports that would come out. There's been a particularly ridiculous one going around that there was a test screening of a particular movie and the test screening audience got up and walked out of it.
Yeah, it was a total flop.
Which was completely false and completely fake. Not that that movie in question will be any good. We don't know if it will or not. But that simply did not happen. And so I wonder how we in the online movie space will be affected moving forward, and how much we should be affected moving forward with this settlement that Fox just had to make with Dominion. Now, again, let me reiterate, because it's so damn important. We're not talking about the expression of opinion. Expression of opinion should never be touched. Expression of your perspective should never be touched. We're talking about the simple fact, and we have seen it happen in the world of movies and movie news, where an absolute, completely known to be falsehood is perpetuated for somebody's own agenda. And how much of that accountability should be brought or should not be brought into the online movie space, whether we're talking about large real outlets like Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, The Wrap, Entertainment Weekly, whatever, to more mid-sized ones like Screen Rant, Joe Blow, Coming Soon, to little, buttfuck nobodies like the John Campea Show and others who are on my nobody level. Like, where and when should that accountability come into place? And where is that line drawn? And I'm just asking a lot of questions here. Where is the line drawn between expressing your perspective, expressing your opinion, crossed with perpetuating something as an absolute fact that was not true, that you knew was not true, and yet we're perpetuating it anyway? And I just don't know. To me, it's a really interesting thing. Listen, there is an inherent marriage between art and our culture, and one will always affect the other. And I am just curious, with such a groundbreaking precedent set now in this one thing that has nothing to do with movies and movie news, Fox and Dominion, how could, how should, how will that affect us in our space? And I think that's a conversation worth having. And I think it's a topic that we should keep our eyes on a little bit. Again, we're in the earliest days of it, and I don't know what the answer is. How do you find that balance? Where do you cross that line or don't cross that line when something becomes, from your perspective, from your opinion, how you view it, what your predictions are, all that kind of stuff? And how does that differ? And where's that line between purporting something as fact, like I saw Ryan Gosling kick a kitten in the face?
No, Ryan.
No, Ryan, don't do it. Well, I didn't see Ryan Gosling kick a kitten in the face. Where does accountability come in from that? Now, maybe there was Ryan Gosling and there was a kitten and he was walking by a kitten and I was standing at a distance. I thought maybe it looked like Ryan Gosling kicked the kitten in the face. I mean, so where's the difference? And how will that play in the world of movies and movie news? I'm not really sure. Guys, the question is for you. And again, I'm asking you all to put on your big boy and big girl pants here and try to have like a civil discussion about this. Like, where does that principle of expression of opinion, yet accountability, come in? And how should people like myself and others in the online movie space govern ourselves accordingly? I think it's a good question to ask. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below. It's not going to stay civil, but I'm asking you guys to keep it civil and let me know your thoughts. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of this video, BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. Think about it. The person you were 5 years ago is not the exact person that you are today. Therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want or why we react the way that we do until we talk things through. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. And guys, striving for better mental health is something we should all aspire to. I've talked about this before, but when somebody goes to the gym, we applaud them for getting out there to improve their physical health. Well, it's about time that we start looking at mental health the same way, not just by encouraging the people around us to look into therapy, but by also taking the step to take care of our own mental health as well. So listen, if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a short questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Campea today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea.